Frank? Frank!
Yes?
It's me, Erica.
Erica, how are you? I haven't seen you in ages. Not since we were in high school. How have you been?
I've been good. And hey, you look great.
Well, thanks. So do you. Listen, do you still see any of our old high school friends? I've lost touch with most of them.
Yeah, well, me too. But do you remember Amy? I ran into her the other day. What a surprise.
Yeah, sure, I remember Amy. She was going out with Brian, wasn't she?
That's right. They really liked each other in those days. I remember Christine liked Brian too, but he was never really interested in her. He was happy with Amy.
You know, I used to like Amy when we were in high school.
Really? Why didn't you tell her?
I couldn't tell her. I mean, she only had eyes for Brian.
Really? Oh, that's too bad.
It's okay. That's all in the past now. And you used to like Brian too, didn't you?
Brian? No way. Actually, I liked David back then. David and I went out a couple of times, you know, but we just never got along very well. He didn't seem that interested in me.
Poor you.
Poor us.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said I met Amy.
Right, how is she?
Very happy. She's just got engaged.
Engaged? Who to?
To David, of all people. They were at college together and really hit it off. She split up with Brian, and they went their separate ways.
I bet Brian's upset about that.
No, not really. I don't think so. Anyway, how about you? Are you seeing anybody?
Yes, and you'll never guess who.
I have no idea.
Christine.
No, really?
Yes, we've been seeing each other for a couple of years now. Are you seeing anybody?
Well, I'm married now.
Married? Congratulations. So who's the lucky guy?
Brian.
Brian? When we were in high school...
I know we didn't get along, but now we do. So we got married last September.
Wow, that's wonderful.
I'm talking to 4 people about why they are stressed. Andrew, you first.
Yes. Well, most of the time I don't feel stressed. I like my job and I have a good relationship. The problem I do have is that I wake up early every morning, around 5 a.m., and I feel worried. I just worry about little things that are on my mind, nothing major, just things like what clothes I'm going to wear that day or who I'm going to meet that day. I just lie awake worrying until it's time to get up, so I'm not getting enough sleep.
Sonia, how about you? What makes you stressed?
Oh, waiting in line. It just drives me crazy. If I have to line up in the post office or in the bank, or wait to buy a ticket or pay at the supermarket checkout, I just feel so stressed I want to scream. I seem to spend hours and hours just standing in line. And I think it's getting worse because the lines are getting longer and slower.
Brent, how about you? Do you get stressed?
Oh, yes. My problem is that I have so much to do that I don't have time to relax. At lunchtime, I go out for lunch and, like Sonia, I have to stand in line to get a table. Then, when the food comes, I have to eat very quickly so I can get back to work. And then I get kinda sick from eating too fast, and that makes me feel totally stressed all afternoon. I'd like to take longer lunches, but there's so much to do in the office.
Finally, Natalie, how about you? You certainly look stressed. I thought being a student was an easy way of life.
No way. Not for me, anyhow. I have to work really hard. And the reason I'm stressed is that there is real pressure on us to get good grades in every class. If we don't get good grades, we can fail that class, and that can mean we have to leave college. So I'm worried all the time about getting good grades.
That's awful. Last month, I talked to 4 people about stressful situations in their lives. Let's find out what they're doing now to cope with their stress. First, Andrew. How are you feeling now?
Well, I still wake up early and start worrying, But now I turn on the light and read a chapter of a book. Then I turn off the light, close my eyes, and I go back to sleep. And I wake up feeling fine at 7:30.
Good. Sonia, are you still getting frustrated standing in line?
Not anymore. I have an MP3 player. I just put in my earphones when I'm standing in line and listen to music. It's great. I enjoy standing in line now. Sometimes I'm actually disappointed when I get to the front of the line if I'm listening to a good song.
Now, Brent, are you still eating too quickly and feeling sick?
Nope. My secret is sandwiches.
Huh?
Well, instead of going out to eat lunch, I have lunch at my desk. I buy a sandwich and juice in the morning on my way to work. And at lunchtime, I put my feet up and eat my sandwich slowly. I feel relaxed all afternoon.
Natalie, when we met before, you looked really stressed. Now you look so happy. What's happened?
Well, I talked to some of my classmates, and I discovered that they felt the same way. First, we asked our teachers to give us fewer tests, but they all said no. So, then we had the idea of starting a study group. We all work together now, helping one another and preparing for tests together. We find that sharing the stress makes it all bearable. We still have to work hard, but now it's fun, not stressful.
I'm talking today to marketing expert Jim Hobson. His fascinating new book, Why We Buy What We Buy, is just out. Jim, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I really enjoyed your book and learned a lot. I discovered that if I want to open a new store, the worst possible location is next to a bank, right?
That's right. Because it takes people 10 meters to slow down from a quick walk. Because there's nothing to look at in a bank's window, consumers walk faster and don't slow down fast enough to notice the store directly next to it.
Interesting. And once inside a store, most people turn left. Is that right?
No. Most people actually turn right. That's why supermarkets have their entrance on the right so that people will walk straight ahead.
Oh.
In a store, the signature items are placed...
Sorry, but what are signature items?
Those are the products most shoppers go into the store to buy. For example, in the men's clothing store, the suits are signature items, and they are at the back of the store. That's because the store wants the customers to walk past other goods on display first, to see them and think about purchasing them too, and then walk past more goods on the way out of the store.
How about the aisles in a store? Some stores have very narrow aisles. Is that good?
Narrow aisles mean there are more shelves. But if an aisle is narrow, shoppers won't buy so much. I mean, if shoppers run into each other because the aisles are very narrow, they get irritated, stop looking, and move on. And they don't return to the aisle. Aisles must be wide enough for people to pass each other easily.
Oh, what about colors? Is it important what color a store is inside?
Yeah, definitely. Dark colors are not as effective as light colors. The best color of all is light purple, according to research.
Oh.
If a store is light purple inside, people spend more money in it.
And I was very interested by what you wrote about male customers. Tell us about the differences between female and male shoppers. How do they behave differently?
Okay, well, to attract male customers, a store has to communicate 3 things to them. In general, a man needs to see clearly how to get into the store, how to find things quickly, and how to get out quickly. If he can't do all 3 things, he won't go in, and he won't spend any money. A male customer has to feel comfortable, and he won't feel comfortable if there are too many brands to choose from. He doesn't want buying things to be complicated. He doesn't care if a pair of jeans costs $25.99 or $29.99. He just wants to make a simple purchase without having to make too many decisions.
And women?
Well, women are more price conscious. Women are more likely to have a list of what they want to buy and then go shopping to find the things on their list, while men are more likely to buy things on impulse. And clothing stores need to have plenty of dressing rooms for men.
Why is that?
Because more than half the men who try on an item will buy that item, as opposed to 25% of female shoppers.
Fascinating. Jim, thank you.
You're welcome.
And next, 3 reports from the metro area. First, if you got caught in the terrible traffic this morning, we'll be telling you why. Second, there was a strange new class at City College. And third, you'll find out why there were bigger than normal crowds on Sunset Beach this afternoon. We'll tell you more after these messages. Welcome back. It's been a busy day in the metro area. First, you may have been caught up in the traffic gridlock this morning. Chuck Stein was downtown by City Hall and has this report. Chuck?
Yes, Linda. Traffic this morning was gridlocked from 10th Street to 40th Street, all because an orangutan appeared in the street outside City Hall. Now, a keeper from the Metro Zoo was called in to deal with the situation, but because of the traffic, it took her 45 minutes to get downtown. Now, not wanting to frighten the animal, who was, by the way, a young orangutan and not in any way dangerous, she tried to get it to come toward her by leaving a trail of bananas. But it didn't work. The animal couldn't have been less interested. But when she talked to the animal, it came to her, took her hand, and got into her car. So we watched them drive off to the zoo. And I hope to be able to tell you tomorrow, Linda, about a happy ending to this story.
Oh, I hope so too. Thanks, Chuck. Next, Sarah Park tells us about a class she attended at City College. Sarah?
Oh, yes, Linda. I was there with about 20 other people who wanted to improve their singing. Now, most people aren't aware of how they sound when they sing, so the voice teacher, Lee Byung-won, has come up with a new technique. The members of the class wear these plastic buckets on their heads while they practice. And the bucket lets you hear yourself the way others hear you. And this helps you to improve. I tried it, and I think it works. Would you like me to sing My Way for you now?
Oh, thank you very much, Sarah, but not just now, maybe later. Finally, Alex Martinez reports from Sunset Beach. Working on your tan, Alex?
No, I'm afraid not. The weather is pretty cloudy, but this didn't keep the crowds away. I am here to see this year's sandcastle contest, which this year has attracted bigger numbers than ever. There are 147 contestants, ranging in age from 8 to 88. Local resident Greg Wallace built an enormous castle, just like in a fairy tale, and experts are expecting him to win the prize for the 4th year running. But newcomer David Bradley's Star Wars spaceship is also pretty impressive. But now the judges have just started looking at the sandcastles, and I should be able to announce the winner tomorrow at our evening broadcast. Back to you in the studio.
And that wraps up the news on the stock market. And finally, here are the latest updates on yesterday's stories. Chuck Stein told us about an orangutan that stopped traffic downtown. Chuck, do you have any more for us on that story?
I do, Linda, and it's pretty surprising. It seems that the orangutan wasn't really a real animal at all, but a 13-year-old student in a costume. I spoke with him today, and he told me that he was trying to raise awareness of the dangers facing orangutans in Southeast Asia. Apparently, they are in great danger of becoming extinct.
That's no joke. And yesterday, we also told you about the singing class. Sarah, is there more to tell us?
There sure is. Apparently, the Metro Symphony Chorus has ordered 200 plastic buckets for their singers. The chorus director heard about the class and believes that her singers can actually improve their voices by using this method at rehearsals.
Oh, let's hope they don't use the buckets in their concerts. Finally, we were hoping to tell you the winner of the Sunset Beach Sandcastle contest, but we have some bad news from Alex Martinez.
Yes, I'm afraid so. A few minutes after the judges started looking at the sandcastles, there was a big thunderstorm with very heavy rain. So the sandcastles were washed away and couldn't be judged. This is the first time this has happened in the 21-year history of the contest, and the judges are still trying to make arrangements.
So, Kurt, congratulations, you made it.
Yes, we did.
How long did the trip take?
It took a very long time, 45 days. We left on July 1st and we arrived yesterday, August 14th. It seemed like 4 months.
Now, I know that everyone forgets something on a trip like this. What did you forget to take with you?
Oh, we didn't have enough books to read. We only had 2 books, and we had to keep rereading them. Joan said she had packed a box of books, but she didn't. And she also forgot to pack any coffee. So we had to make do with tea.
Oh, what was your worst experience?
One day I'll never forget. It was on the 10th day. There was no wind, and it was very hot. I wanted to cool off, so I dove into the ocean and swam away from the boat. I was about 50 meters from the boat when I saw a fin. Then another, and another. There were sharks all around me, blocking my way back to the boat. Eventually, they lost interest and swam away. I didn't tell Joan about this in case she freaked out. The sharks didn't come back.
What was your best experience?
Being alone at night and keeping watch. Looking at the stars while Joan was asleep below. The night sky in the middle of the ocean is just awesome.
What was the first thing you did when you reached land?
I fell down. I couldn't stand up after being at sea so long. I still find it hard to stay on my feet.
Well, thank you, Kurt, and congratulations again. Joan, congratulations on your amazing voyage. You must feel very proud of yourselves.
Yes, very proud.
How long did the journey take?
We left on June 14th and arrived here on August 14th. So that's 2 months.
Did you miss anything on the boat? What did you forget to take with you?
I missed coffee. Kurt said he packed it, but he forgot. And he also forgot the box of books for us to read.
What was your worst experience?
It was a terrifying moment. It was a foggy day, and we were sailing along in the fog when this enormous ship appeared out of nowhere in the fog. It nearly ran us down. Kurt was asleep. I didn't tell him because he would have freaked out. But that was the only scary experience.
What was your best experience?
Swimming with dolphins. I used to swim every day with rope tied to me so I couldn't get lost. Every day, I just jumped into the water, closed my eyes, and let the boat carry me along. And on the 12th day of our journey, this group of dolphins appeared, and I swam with them. It was wonderful. Kurt refused to swim, though.
What was the first thing you did when you reached land?
I had a double espresso. Then another one.
So how do you feel?
Great. So the weather forecast for the weekend is good, and it's ideal weather for a hiking trip in the mountains. Pack your backpack and you're ready to head off. But maybe it's not so simple. I'm here with Park Ranger Chuck Lewis. Tell us, Chuck, is there any special advice you can give to hikers?
Sure. Many people think it's okay just to start walking, but there are some important rules you must follow if you want to get home again safely. First, don't go hiking alone. There should be at least 4 people in your group. Then if someone gets hurt, 1 person can stay back and 2 people can go for help.
Okay.
Also, even if the weather looks good, like today, you should expect it to get worse. Listen to the latest weather forecasts, but don't rely on them completely. The weather can change quickly in the mountains.
So don't be optimistic about the weather.
Right. And get an early start on a hike and allow yourself plenty of time. Make sure you're at your destination well before dark.
All right.
And if you're in a group, you should all walk at the same speed. That means at the pace of the slowest walker. Whatever you do, don't leave anyone behind.
I hate walking slowly.
Me too, but it's a must. And here's another important thing you must do. Tell someone your route before you set off. Then if you don't arrive, that person can alert the rescue services.
So then you also have to be sure that person knows that you have arrived safely.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks a lot, Chuck.
Hold on. There's more.
Well, thanks a lot, Chuck.
Hold on. There's more.
Oh, sorry.
I need to tell you about equipment.
All right.
Back to the start of the trip. Make sure you have an up-to-date, detailed map. Plan your route before you set off. You also need to know which direction you're going at all times.
So you should carry a compass.
That's right. And as I said before, the weather can change quickly in the mountains, so pack clothing for bad weather. You need clothes that are not only waterproof, but also warm.
It can get cold, can't it?
It sure can. Now let's think about emergencies. Take a first aid kit and a cell phone so you can call for help. Also in your backpack, you need energy foods like chocolate and dried fruit, and plenty of water.
You mean for emergency rations?
Yes, and it may get dark. You don't want to get lost in the dark, so you need...
A flashlight?
Exactly. Pack one in your backpack.
Is that it?
Not quite. Just a final word about footwear. Sneakers or sandals are not suitable for hiking, even if the weather is hot and sunny. Wear proper hiking boots. Don't expect a hike to be a stroll along the beach.
Okay. All in all, it doesn't sound like too much fun.
Oh, but it is. You just need to be prepared in case things go wrong. Being out in the fresh air, seeing wonderful views, enjoying the company of your friends.
Now, that's all we have time for. Thanks a lot, Chuck.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I was driving my car and listening to the radio. The weather forecast said there was going to be a storm, but I thought I'd be okay in the car.
Sure.
Then the sky started to get really dark, and it was only 3 o'clock.
Wow.
I was pretty high up in the mountains when suddenly the engine started to cough.
Why?
I ran out of gas.
Oh.
The fuel gauge on my car wasn't working properly. It was stuck on half full. So there I was in the middle of nowhere. Then it started to snow very heavily.
Oh, no.
So I took out my cell phone, hoping to call for help, but unfortunately there wasn't a signal.
Right.
And I didn't know what to do. I mean, it was getting colder, and there wasn't any heat in the car because I couldn't run the engine. And it was dark by this time.
Wow.
What did you do?
Well, I had a choice. Either I could stay in the car all night and risk...
Well, it was a warm, sunny day when I set out for a walk along the coast. And I was in shorts and a t-shirt and wearing sandals.
Were you on your own?
Yeah, just me. And I was just going to walk to the next town along the coast, about a 2-hour walk. I walked along the beach and then I started to climb, following the path along the cliffs. And the path was pretty rough, and my feet were starting to hurt from the sandals.
Yeah.
So I wasn't feeling real happy after about an hour. And then suddenly the fog moved in from the ocean.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, and the fog was very thick and it was hard to see. And the path was very close to the edge of the cliff, and it was a long way down to the ocean.
Ooh.
So I'd been following the path until then, but then the path just stopped.
What?
It was just grass. I walked for, another 20 minutes or so, but still no path. I was feeling very cold in just a t-shirt and shorts.
Oh, no. So what did you do?
Well, I knew if I kept walking...
When I first went to Moscow, I was alone late one night after going to the opera.
Uh-huh.
I was just in time to catch the last subway back to my hotel, but I got on a train going the wrong way.
Oh, no.
By the time I realized this, we'd gone several stops, so I got off. This was the last train, so I couldn't go back the other way. I went out of the station, and it was very dark. The only people around were a group of young men on a street corner, and they were looking at me suspiciously. I felt very nervous and scared. I didn't know what to do.
Well, what did you do?
Well, there was no traffic.
Colder, and there wasn't any heat in the car because I couldn't run the engine. And it was dark by this time.
Wow.
What did you do?
Well, I had a choice. Either I could stay in the car all night and risk freezing, or I could leave the car and try to find help.
So what happened?
Well, I started to walk along the road in the snow, and I rounded a bend where another vehicle was stuck in the snow. It was a bus. I knocked on the door, and the driver let me in. It was nice and warm inside. That's where I spent the night, safe and warm.
Well, that was lucky. It was just grass. I walked for, another 20 minutes or so, but still no path. I was feeling very cold in just a t-shirt and shorts.
Oh, no. So what did you do?
Well, I knew if I kept walking, I'd get to the next town in about an hour, but I couldn't see the path.
Right.
If I stopped walking, the fog might not lift and I'd be stuck there all night in the wrong clothes. Or I could turn around and go back the way I came, hoping to find the path again.
So what happened?
Well, I was standing there trying to decide what to do, and then I saw the sun coming out above the fog. And as suddenly as it had come, the fog just disappeared. I was able to continue the walk safely.
How lucky.
Yeah.
I felt very nervous and scared. I didn't know what to do.
Well, what did you do?
Well, there was no traffic and certainly no taxis.
Of course.
I considered going to someone's house, ringing the doorbell, and asking them to call a cab, but I didn't speak the language well enough for that. I didn't know what to do.
So what happened?
Well, the young men started walking toward me.
Oh, no.
And one of them said, in perfect English, "Can we help you?" To make a long story short, he called me a cab on his cell phone, and I got back to my hotel safe and sound.
Well, it's best to study the subway map before you travel.
I know. I was really lucky. I learned my lesson, that's for sure.
I like this story. A little boy comes home from his first day at school, and he looks really unhappy.
Oh.
Yeah, so his mother asks him, "What did you learn today?" The little boy says, "Not enough. I have to go back tomorrow."
I heard this story about a kangaroo at the zoo.
Uh-huh.
One night the kangaroo got out of his enclosure.
Oh, no.
So the zookeepers caught him and put him back. And knowing that he could jump so high, the zookeepers put up a 2-meter fence. The kangaroo was out the next morning, just roaming around the zoo. So they put up a 3-meter fence. Again, he got out.
Oh, my God.
When the fence was 4 meters high, a camel in the next enclosure asked the kangaroo, "How high do you think they'll go?" The kangaroo said, "Oh, maybe 20 meters, unless somebody locks the gate at night."
So, this story made me laugh. This man stopped a taxi and asked the driver, "How much to take me to the station?" The taxi driver answered, "About $20, sir." And then the man said, "Okay, and how much for my suitcase?" The taxi driver answered, "Oh, there's no charge for the suitcase." So the man said, "Okay, just take the suitcase and I'll walk."
Take the suitcase.
Excuse me, are you the guide?
Yes, I am. My name's Rachel. I'll be taking you on your tour today.
Hi, Rachel. I'm Peter.
And I'm Brian.
Hey, it's nice to meet you both. I hope you're feeling wide awake.
Not really.
Oh, well, you will be soon. So, do you have any questions before we start?
Yeah, are we the only 2 people on this trip?
As a matter of fact, you are. Yesterday there were 15 people, so you're lucky today. You're getting a private tour.
Great. So what are we going to do?
Okay, well, in a couple of minutes we're going to start our walk up the mountain. It's a pretty steep mountain, but, you know, it's not too hard. And we hope to get there by sunrise, so we're going to keep a pretty quick and hearty pace, so make sure you keep up. Then we'll come back down and stop for a short breakfast, and after breakfast, the Jeep will pick us up.
So what do we need to bring? We both have our swimsuits on.
Well, you know what? I think you have everything you need. Towels, hiking boots. Do you have sunscreen?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, because it gets pretty hot out there.
Well, what about lunch? What are we going to have?
Well, our driver will already have prepared a barbecue for us. There will be fish, salad, and, you know, some cold drinks. Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Yeah. Then what do we do after lunch?
Okay, well, after the quick lunch, the Jeep will take us to the Marine Nature Reserve, and then we have all afternoon to go snorkeling. And let me tell you, the fish out there are absolutely amazing.
We don't have masks and snorkels.
Oh, don't worry about that. We'll provide all of it.
Do we need to bring any money?
No, you don't. We won't be going anywhere where you can spend it. Okay, are you guys ready to go? Follow me.
Oh, you're wearing the perfect thing. I love that.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
Hey.
everyone. On behalf of Sunshine Island Tours, let me welcome you all to the island.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank you for choosing our exciting one-day round the island tour. My name's Jack,
Hi,
Hi, Jack.
Hi, and I'll be your guide.
Oh, good.
We'll be picking you up from your hotel at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So if you have any questions, now's the best time to ask. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Well, how many of us will there be altogether?
Well, the bus holds 15 people, but so far we have only 8 people on board. So that means there's plenty of room for you to spread out.
Oh, good.
Is there anything we need to bring?
Well, we're going to stop at the beach in the afternoon, so you'll need a swimsuit, towel, and sunscreen. Of
course, yeah.
Yes. That's about it. Oh, and don't forget your cameras, huh?
Oh, right.
Excuse me, what kinds of things are we going to do?
Well, in the morning, we drive around the south of the island. Our first stop is Pigeon Point, where there's a beautiful view of the water below.
Pretty.
And then we visit a small ice cream factory where you can see our delicious island ice cream being made.
What flavors are there?
Coconut, mango, papaya, and banana, I think.
Wow.
Do we get free samples?
Oh, you bet. we then continue around the island, enjoying beautiful views of the Atlantic coast. And we stop for lunch at a nice seaside cafe. After lunch, we head north, stopping at a beach, like I said earlier. And finally, we go to the nature reserve, where you can see parrots and monkeys.
Oh, fun. So what's for lunch?
For lunch, a typical Caribbean lunch.
What's that?
So, spicy chicken, rice and beans, and fresh tropical fruit for dessert. You get a fresh lime drink. But if you want any other drinks, that costs extra.
Oh, Jack, excuse me, but are there any other extra costs?
Well, you might want to buy some souvenirs, like local crafts or jewelry. And you might want to tip your driver. Any more questions?
No, I don't think so.
Thanks so much.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Okay, see you all tomorrow, 7 a.m.
All right.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Take
Okay.
care.